Out.
Yep, that's the voice.
Okay, I will begin.
Yeah, mute.
Thanks for coming, everybody. In addition to the, what are we, five, six, seven on screen, my wife and daughter are sitting about 6 feet from me in these big orange Barca loungers, or sort of, and well, that's a thing. They don't watch me that often. I am going to, I'm going to try to say something new. That's always on the agenda. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Um, it's too bad that Buford is not here. I know he's a baseball fan, and I was thinking today about what it means to pitch a perfect game. Um, as some of you know, that means no hits. Maybe it means no walks. Also, I'm not sure, but I always thought that was kind of false. I always thought that perfect game should be where the pitcher, every pitch the pitcher throws is a strike. So that should be 3 strikes per batter, 9 per inning, times 9, 81 pitches, in my mind, should be a perfect game. I was thinking about this because I feel like I have unreasonably high standards for myself, for the world, but for here, absolutely. I have this list of how I think this ought to go, why I'm here. And it's, my perfect game would be every word that comes out of my mouth is a discovery, something I've never thought of before, something nobody has ever thought of before. That's ridiculous, isn't it? I could never do that. If I'm lucky, I can do that, God, I don't know, once a month, one sentence a month, one idea a month. That's really fresh. It's frankly, it's debilitating. It freezes me to think about perfection this way, to think about it going well. And my lovely daughter has corrected me a number of times, especially when I started doing this. I would perform and she would go, and I would go, it was good or it was bad, like black and white binary. And she tried to get me away from that kind of thinking. And she's right. She's right. Anyway, let's see. I mean, that's always an uphill battle. Why am I? Why am I? Is anybody else like that? I mean, aren't we obsessed with trying to get it done the right way? I was thinking how, you know, um, the, okay, so I've been practicing, and especially for this, I mean, 20 minutes, that's a long set. So I walk around in my house, usually when no one's home, and I just talk about stuff. And it's kind of, there's like a whole progression. Uh, I talk to myself, when I wait, first thing I wake up in the morning, I just, hear that silent voice in my head. I write in my journal. I talk into my phone. I talk and make videos alone. But of course, when you guys are here, when you guys are here, pointing at my wife and daughter, the rules all change. Like communicating with another person. Uh, uh, then it's God. Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard? Here's one thing on my list of what I believe needs to happen here, which is absolute honesty. If I find myself lying, doing an open mic, standing on stage, I will, I'll feel like, what are you doing here? You can lie anywhere else in the world. Why would you come to get on stage and lie to people? All right, it's not so black and white. What does lying mean? Lying means doing something that I'm not happy doing, not creating every minute, not pitching a perfect game of 81 pitches. That feels like lying. It feels like it's always a struggle. There's no perfection, right? Like what's his name said, you look for the crack to let the light in. It'll come to me. I mean, going for a perfect game every time, isn't that? I mean, every pitch you throw, you want it to be a strike if you're a pitcher, but you can't do it. So last week I was talking to a friend, Keith, and talking about this, doing this what I call solo improv, and he said, "Oh, you must be comfortable in your discomfort." Very wise thing Keith said. There are, here's a perfect example of why it's, I mean, the easiest example, the one that comes to my mind right away, because I am, because sexuality comes to my mind right away. Sexual tension and sexual dissatisfaction is always present. Now, when I go about my life, and I go into a store to buy something, and the person says, "How are you?" I will inevitably say, "Oh, I'm fine." I will never say, "Oh, I want to have sex right now." I will never say that. But here, I should say it, right? Because I'm supposed to be. I want to be honest, and this is not real life. This is a fantasy. What we're doing here. This is make believe here on here, you've got 20 minutes. It's all yours. You can do it. Well, sexual tension is always present. But there are other things that I feel like challenged about. I'm constantly concerned about street violence. Now, I've never been mugged, but I know how dangerous the streets can be. I live in a good neighborhood. I live in Noe Valley. It's supposed to be safe here, but no, you read about what goes on here. People are constantly being held up at gunpoint. I feel like I'm constantly looking over my shoulders, but I'm not going to hide. I've got to leave my house and do things. I'm concerned about political violence. I'm concerned about the insane Republican leaning toward dictatorship. This stuff happens. There are dictators around the world. I'm concerned it's going to happen here. I don't feel like I can relax and just go out in my garden. I'm pointing to my right because I can see it and enjoy, how beautiful the world is, because there's always this other thing. So I feel like I need to get comfortable in my discomfort. Last week here at Mitch's Jamboree, if you remember, I talked about the Rolodex, right? Like the old style, like group of cards, which for me, I kind of imagine the things that I think about or potential things to think about as a Rolodex. Uh, okay, I talked about that, and it felt okay. It was an idea I had thought about before, and I recorded it, and I watched the recording afterwards, and I was so dismayed at the whole at the whole 5 minutes, mainly because I was smiling the whole time, and I thought, Robert, you just look like an idiot. Why were you smiling? It wasn't. I don't know. I felt like too satisfied, and I wanted more. Um, Maybe I wanted the perfect game. Maybe I wanted the 81 pitch game. I mean, I think the Rolodex idea is an interesting idea. Maybe I was dissatisfied because it wasn't a real discovery last week. I don't know how to solve this problem. I don't think anybody does. I think that's just the cards we're dealt as humans, right? I'm not in any physical pain now. That's a good thing, right? I'm thankful for that. By the way, Richard May, our good friend, the cursive writer. No, uh, not the cursive writer. Richard May, the actor, is not with us because he had a bad fall, and he seriously hurt his shoulder. Um, no, the cursive writer is not with us either. I'm honoring him by wearing this hat. I miss him. Even though I wasn't that close to him, it always was meaningful for me when he was in the audience because I felt like he got me. This this pausing that I do, a month or two ago when Mitch announced that I was going to be doing the feature, somebody somebody said, I don't remember who it was. Somebody said, "Oh, great, we're going to hear a lot of pausing and stuttering," which I loved. I laughed when I heard that. I felt like, thank you. You understand me. Of course, people that don't know me and see me tripping over myself and just waiting, uh, it's awkward. Um, and honestly, when I pause, I don't know which way to go. I don't know what to talk about. The Rolodex is spinning, and I'm like, well, no, not that one, not that one, not that one. I'm like a pitcher calling off the catcher. No, give me another signal. It is, I think, directly linked to, like, I don't know what to say on stage. I don't know what to do in my life. I don't know what's valuable, or whatever is valuable is constantly changing. And I'm not smart enough to go with it. The river keeps changing. I can't swim. That not knowing what to do has I end up having done many things over the years. I've had lots of different kinds of jobs. I think one drawback to being a jack of all trades is master of none. I mean, that's a cliche, but in a way, I feel like I have had one job, and I've only been working on this one job. It's self-centered and perhaps navel gazing, as my mom used to call it, but that job is me, keeping myself sane and healthy and as much a part of the community and in relationships with family and friends as I can. That's a big job. I want to give out a shout out to therapists and therapy. Um, I mentioned before, uh, this like thinking and then writing in a journal and speaking and speaking into my phone, speaking on the computer. Um, and somewhere in there is speaking to my therapist. Um, I had a therapist for a couple of years when I was in my 20s. Then I moved to the West Coast and had a therapist here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. Um, and then I stopped seeing him about 10 years ago or 15 years ago. But I would see him once every year um, or twice a year. And I know it's a luxury. It's a luxury. But if you can afford it, I think it's really worth it. It was worth it for me. In a way, it was like college for me or grad school, let's say. But the where the therapist comes in with mixed in with journaling and just the voices in my head uh, uh, are it's like a wise and trusted guide, somebody who can you learn after the relationship develops that they're saying things that are helpful, just kind of pushing you along in the right or aiming you in the right direction. When I, one thing about watching that video from last week of me smiling throughout performing and talking about the Rolodex is, I guess, the therapist has helped me learn to laugh at it, whatever difficulties I might have here. Um, I think I learned that from my daughter as well. She just seemed to like as soon as she could start talking, she would laugh and brighten things up. She is not, I mean, comparatively, my wife and I are very quiet, if not moribund. Is that the word? Serious. Um, and and when she started like that, when she started laughing, I would think to myself, this is forced jollity. Like, oh, this is it kind of got on my nerves. Like, this isn't, you're not really laughing at the true humor in the world. It kind of ticked me off. Like, just leave me alone. Let me be an angry old fart. But no, I think I was wrong. I think there's something to, I think it happens physiologically. Like, you just, I'm looking at the clock. Uh, I don't know. My mind can flow better. Um, it's not as self-defeating if I can laugh at things. So maybe we should leave it at that on a laugh. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Woo! One true laugh about nothing.
Wow,